Hey guys, it's Chris, and we're back with the third installment of the Toned and Toneful podcast. It's really good to see you guys this week again. I just wanted to update you guys. It looks like my hands are doing a lot better now. As of next week, I'm going to be very excited to do, I think, my first workout video with you guys. Nothing super crazy, but I want to talk to you guys about strengthening your body for music. So there's a few different little things that I wanted to show you guys that I do that help keep my fingers strong and help keep me strong and actually help me heal back quickly from the kind of the injury that I had, and that was what was going on. So it looks like everything that was dislocated is now back in place. Everything that had like a very deep wound that was like kind of almost at a point where you had to deal with it very carefully is now closed up. So today I'm drinking a decaf coffee. Funny enough, an instantized decaf coffee. You can never be too picky. All right, guys, I will stop being silly. So this week I wanted to talk to you guys about content versus your music, because I've been fortunate to know a lot of musicians. I've always been able to talk to them because I've always been curious about, why they do what they do or why they make the kind of music they make. So I'll start asking questions a lot of the time. And one of the things that I noticed a lot was a lot of musicians have a hard time or have an interesting time, may I say. Some are really good at it and some really struggle with it on the idea of balancing out their regular content, like their music, I'm going to phrase it this way. The way they balance out content versus their own original music. So a lot of people are doing covers and a lot of people are doing kind of flashy like content, like they make it specifically for the idea to be clickbait or for the idea to draw attention to their, page. And then there's like a whole group of people who are doing music like very originally, like everything they do, they put up is like, you actually watch the post and you're like, whoa, this person's really good, but it has like 93 views and the person has 600 followers. And then you'll see something that's a person who's got more flashy stuff. And I'm not saying it's easy, like it's still hard to be flashy. It's still hard to learn hard licks, but say they're not making them up. They're just covering things. It comes from a place that's kind of mentally different. So they've got, the recognition of the song already behind it. So when they're playing it, they're able to just shred it and then be like, whoa, like look at like this result. I'm getting 24,000 views on my Spanish Fly cover versus a person who's doing this a really original solo with, playing chord changes and stuff like that in a rock format. And you're like, whoa, this is like really crazy good. But then the person has like no views. So again, it goes back to the point that a lot of people have a hard time balancing out their content so they can make their page work the best for them. And again, because coming from the way that I want to discuss things here, it's never a solution-based thing for you, but I want to point out observations I've made. I'm a very big observationist, so I'm always observing what people are doing and kind of like trying to figure out like why they're doing it. Because I think it's really important that when you're dealing with anyone or working with anyone, if you know why they do what they do, it's very easy to like work with them or like be able to, at least if anything, when you're communicating with them, make it effective. Because again, we've talked about communication in the past 2 episodes. So content can seem cool because you can get a lot of credit for it really quickly and build notoriety. And I think from that side of it, starting from the content side, there's a lot of pluses, say you're younger or say that you're like a teenager and you're trying to build up your page or you're like trying to get started. And like really right now, like the main thing is that you're like getting into music, you're trying to get your fingers on the guitar and you're just like wanting to live up to your influences. It's like, I think that this is a really good place to start because you're going to build up your page. You're going to get confidence by just seeing really good comments about your playing because you are working on it, and then each comment is just kind of like a little stepping ladder to the next level of kind of like what you want to work on sometimes for a while, and that's good as a kid. But on the other hand side, it's really easy for a few things to happen, in that kind of situation. So it's like you're building up all this notoriety, but at the same time, it's like you kind of know it's not yours. You kind of know it's from covers that you're doing, but at the same time, you know that you're really good. But then the question is, should you be doing something with it? So, again, for teenagers and people starting up and people, again, you're young as 4 and 5 years old. I've seen these kids 9 years old, 10 years old doing perfect covers of like Metallica, Led Zeppelin, and all sorts of things where you're like, wow, like that was hard for me to play when I was in high school. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I had to learn those songs. And then it was like, dang, this is like a thing. But I come from a different generation of guitar players and, the kids with YouTube now and things like that, it's a great thing. I can see that they actually learn faster. And what is that from? Communication, once again. So here, you can gain followers. You can, maybe even show up at NAMM. I've seen kids show up at NAMM and they're playing a bunch of cover licks. They're just doing nonstop, Van Halen licks, and they're doing all sorts of like different, tapping and stuff that they're learning from their heroes. And it's really cool to see. I've been fortunate enough to meet some really talented virtuoso children. And, the thing that you start to notice is the more and more that you spend time with those people, you kind of watch them as they get older. And like a lot of people you've seen have been like TV stars as children, or like movie stars as children, they kind of fade off, because I think there becomes a real question of like what's important, a real question. And the question is am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and am I doing what I need to be doing to make things work for me correctly? And I think that that's where I kind of come to the root cause. Why do you do music? So like, while on one hand, the content's getting you credit, the flashy playing, the little TikTok setup videos where it's like clipping into different clip sections where it's like all super, super, super like crispy. Like it's like the guy plays and there's like a little comment and this and this and this and this, or like acting out certain things. That's awesome. But you're an entertainer, and that's a different origin. Some people are musicians, and like they're very, very auditory human beings, where they are almost like listening to what they're making. They're not so worried maybe about how it looks all the time. And I think that when I kind of come from this standpoint, it really changes things for me. Because I always wanted to put out original music, and I had a hard time learning covers because I play so weird. First off, I'm left-handed and I play guitar right-handed. So, there's always going to be like little things I'm going to do funky. But I tried really hard to learn good technique because I knew that I was struggling on a lot of things because I was kind of learning lightweight backwards. Now, the thing is like, when you're in the root cause level of what you're doing, you realize like, why did I pick up guitar? If you picked up guitar to like literally get girls, then maybe that's something that you're going to do. If you really literally picked up guitar to get attention, then maybe that's what like you're going to do with it. You're going to just get attention. But I think people who are auditory oriented people, like they are going to kind of think, hey, what did I do that made this sound better? And then those are the people who are the pedal geeks, and those are the guys who are like NGD, and those are the guys who, I hung out with and I was fortunate to know. And so I wanted to say some benefits and some things to doing original music, even if sometimes the results aren't coming up front. And this is just, again, in my opinion, because this is about building character a lot of times here on the Toned and Toneful, because, when you're trying to get, jacked, you're doing it for you. And when you're like trying to get really good at music, at a certain point, you're doing it for you, man. You're not doing it for other people. Like this, getting really good at music and like really sounding great and like it feeling good to listen to you is for you to live and to be. Isn't that great? I love music. So remember that you might be playing someone's 50th or 200th song. So like when you're doing a cover or you're doing a thing, you're playing a song of someone's who they've written a lot of full songs. Have you written that many songs? Because the thing is like you might be working on something that you're doing, but you're kind of always putting it off. And like if you had finished 10 more songs, would you notice something about your songwriting? Like, oh, I do this really boring intro thing all the time, or I always do a solo right here, or like, it doesn't matter what the particular variable is, but you notice certain things coming up and you learn to change it up, and you learn to become a master of transitions, and you learn to become a master of theming things out and finding the communication in what you're doing. And this leads back to what I last time was saying is communication. Some of the best guitar players and best musicians and best people at whatever they are, again, this goes back to everything, but in music, because this is always music kind of oriented and workout oriented, you're going to notice like it is a thing when like someone like Steve Vai talks and then you hear him play and you're like, whoa, that's the same dude. You can like literally tell. And I think that a lot of people need to keep that in mind, because their persona and their music is very different, or they're like, I know I'm not, like you kind of need to be who you are. And so like that leads me to the next thing. Like, do you actually like playing your music, or are you playing a certain style because it's popular or it's known to be technical? Maybe you want to be a good guitar player. I'm guilty as hell of this, like of doing something that I didn't want to do, or like something I like I'm not saying, okay, you know what, not didn't want to do on the external level, on the external level, say you're knowing that you want to play music. So you're like, oh, this music is doing well and stuff like that. So actually you tell yourself you like it. There's songs you like of that style of music. But deep in your heart, there's already been things you've been writing or things that attracted to you to the music before that. You got to remember that. You got to remember that. Because remembering that section of yourself makes you actually stronger. It makes you a better musician. The musician you become when you actually look at your music and go, do I like playing this? And furthermore, does this even represent me? Like, so many people are ready to put out songs where I see them and I'm like, this isn't you, man. I can easily see it. And it has nothing to do with it is or isn't good. Like, of course, it's just good music. Like, okay, if you want to take it on that level, it's good music. But is it them? Is it proper? Is it what I hear in their soul? Sometimes I hear people play certain things when I'm sitting in a room with them, and if I've been hanging out with them long enough and they're actually being a little bit more vulnerable with their playing, and they'll play certain things that, like, I've been brought to tears by certain players. So there is a thing that certain people can play that they don't even put out, and it actually shocks me that they don't share that. So remember, original music and content, part of the bravery of doing original music is you're doing you. But at the same time, like, doing content and doing like covers and doing shredding little, videos and like doing like kind of things, more clickbait stuff, there's nothing wrong with that because you're still on your guitar. I'm happy to see anyone on a guitar, anyone working on music, anyone still wanting to make things fun and entertain me. So there's nothing wrong with that. But remember, like, on the point of entertainment, there's an entertainment side, but remember at the same time, the auditory, the original thing that got you into it, how good that chorus pedal sounds, how good that player actually hits the string and makes it sound. Are you working on that for you and for your audience? Because the audience will get it too. They might not see it inherently. You'll just be a legend. Do you think John Mayer got where he was by not having good touch and good playing? Again, another person whose communication is very similar to his playing. And I admire him very much for that, because at least when he talks and when he plays, you're like, that's the same dude. And that's like really the thing that really gets me, is like, I want to hear the same human being. Yvette Young, another example, person who plays, and when they're shredding, you're like, wow, it's the same person. Like, I can tell the bubbly personality, happy, ready to be positive, and then the music is just uplifting. How do you, those are just connected. So guys, remember that, like, while we might not always be getting credit for our original music, remember, is it communicating you? Because the more it communicates you and the more it lines up with you, don't you notice the more successful it becomes? Don't you notice when you lean into who you are, you actually get more reactions that like actually work for you? Work. Maybe there's less. Maybe there's like 2 comments, but those 2 comments lead to you getting a gig. Is 2 comments leading to you having a gig better than 500 comments that just say cool, fire, and then it doesn't change anything for you? Just boost your ego for a day, and then the next day you go like, what's happening? Or maybe you can keep creating content to that level where you get your ego boosted every day and you're able to stay famous. That's great. That's actually good. That means you can pay your bills and do things for your family with that, and that's great too. But just remember your original reason, your root cause. And I think most people will find that their little dissonance that they're feeling within their self is coming from not living up to a root cause. Like, literally, that's like the thing that's like usually like killing most of us. And it's not about perfection. This is about like feeling smooth, about the music feeling right. Because we already have to put enough energy into practice and like working on stuff and getting the things to sound right. That's already enough. So does it feel good? Do you want to do it? Do you show up to practice ready to go every time and love the people you work with? Or even if you don't love them, you just love the music so much that you're like, I'll make the sounds that need to be made with the sounds that are made with these people to get it really sounding good. That's just something I wanted to, bring up this week. And I'm excited that next week I'll be able to show you guys a workout. So again, thank you guys for your time, and I really appreciate y'all. I just want you to remember that, again, this is not a solutions page, but just remember, keep writing your music, and live life, because every good song is from a story. I don't care what style of music it is, it's from a story. So please enjoy yourselves. Please live a life. I know it's tough out there, guys, so be safe, but at the same time, enjoy yourselves. Call up a friend, have a really good conversation that makes you feel good, and then write a song that feels like that. Spend time with someone who makes you feel interested in life, and then like write a song that makes you feel like that. So just live your life and write about it, because you guys all have different stories that I want to hear and the world wants to hear. So guys, again, if this helps, share it. I'm looking to do a YouTube page for this. I'm trying to do some art myself. I'm such a dork. I'm trying to come up with something, but I just want you guys to know that I'm very happy to keep doing this for you guys every Tuesday, and I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Toned and Toneful.